Yeah, there we are in July. A nice day, an afternoon in London, just after lunch, and then talking about blockchain. It must be challenging, but please stay with me. Well, we will have a look at blockchain. And if you are here in the session, think, okay, let's go to a session and I want to apply something directly tomorrow, something very practical, then maybe you should choose another session. If you say, okay, there seems this window that's called blockchain, and I would be curious to open up that window and see what's behind it. If that's why you're here, then please stay with me. Yeah. I work for Renewspring. It's a blended learning platform for trainers and training providers and corporate academies. And my role is to look at the trends out there and to help clients be successful with their learning journeys. And so, yeah, blockchain. What happened? I always like to look at the future, and I think it's a good thing to, once in a while, spend some time thinking about and looking into the future, because it's the place where you will spend the rest of your life. So I think that's good to do. Well, around blockchain, often these messages occur that blockchain is going to be huge, it's going to be disruptive. Of course, we heard it all before. And some people say, quite often, it could be something like the internet revolution 30 years ago. Now, when I started work, the internet was already there, but at my first job, I didn't have email, or I didn't have an internet connection on my computer. So I kind of saw the internet coming towards work. And I'm excited about if there is a new wave of the internet coming to us, then I want to know about it. So if even only half of it is true, that it's the next internet, a wave compared to the internet, then I want to be in the front seat to see what's happening. What is blockchain? I have this little video that helps it explain, and we'll tap into it a bit deeper later on. Let's have a first look.
Modern technology allows people to communicate directly. Voice and video calls, emails, pictures and instant messages travel directly from A to B, maintaining trust between individuals no matter how far apart they are. When it comes to money, people have to trust a third party to be able to complete a transaction. Blockchain technology is challenging the status quo in a radical way. By using math and cryptography, blockchain provides an open, decentralized database of any transaction involving value, money, goods, property, work, or even votes, creating a record whose authenticity can be verified by the entire community. The future global economy will move towards one of distributed property and trust, where anyone with access to the internet can get involved in blockchain-based transactions, and third-party trust organizations may no longer be necessary. The uses of blockchain technology are endless. Some expect that in less than 10 years, it will be used to collect taxes. It will make it easier for immigrants to send money back to countries where access to financial institutions is limited. Financial fraud will be significantly reduced, as every transaction will be recorded on a public and distributed ledger, which will be accessible by anyone who has an internet connection. Think of it as wills and contracts that execute themselves, or dated proof of existence for ideas, much like a patent. Blockchain will become a global, decentralized source of trust, but not everyone is ready to embrace it. A huge proportion of trust services, from banking to notaries, will face challenges on price, volume, and in some cases, their very survival. Public authorities could find it more and more difficult to enforce traditional financial regulations due to the new possibilities offered by the Bitcoin network to bypass traditional financial intermediaries. Unimagined new networks will evolve to meet society's needs more cheaply and potentially more securely. Will governments, financial and legal institutions embrace blockchain? What will happen to the ones who don't?
Okay, financial institutions, government, they don't say learning departments or learning providers, but okay, let's have a look, and I want to have a closer look with you on the ideas behind blockchain, the principles. Also look at some of the applications in other industries, and from that move forward to what are the ideas right now in our industry. So, the main characteristics of blockchain, already told in the video, but simplest to say it, it's a ledger, a digital ledger, and it's not on one computer, but it's on many computers at the same time. So everybody who has the computer in the node and has the ledger has the same ledger and the same information. So that's why it's a distributed digital ledger. It's immutable, and it holds records of all kinds of transactions and of ownership. So anything of value that you could see in the video can be installed on the blockchain, and so you know who owns what and what kind of transactions did take place. It's immutable, and say, oh, that will be hard to change. So if I buy something from you and I sell it to somebody else, how can we then change it? Well, the history is immutable, but of course we can add new records, and every time there is a transaction, the new transaction will be an updated one in the blockchain, but the history is still there. It's safe because of cryptographic security, and after a few minutes, all the transactions of that moment will be checked with all kind of crypto technology and time-stamped. So a time-stamped set of data is a block, and it's connected to previous blocks. So there's a digital connection from the new block to the previous block, to the previous block, to the previous block, blockchain. Yep, that are a few of the characteristics. Maybe more interesting, what does it mean until now? How could it unfold? And the first thing is that we could look at the blockchain as the trust protocol. Until now, and even today, of course, we need intermediaries to have trust in our society. Banks, governments, etc. So those are the middlemen, institutions that look after things so that we can trust each other in all kinds of transactions. The idea about blockchain is that we can remove them, and that the system itself creates that trust between two parties without any middleman. Blockchain is very much used looking at trust in different areas, and supply chain is an interesting one. I see messages every day about consumer products that are put on the blockchain because of trust. If you say, I like to drink a nice cup of coffee, but I want to know the history of the coffee, where it comes from, if the farmers who made the coffee are well paid for it, etc. People today like to know where their food is coming from. Maybe from a region, from a different country, or whatever, and they can track their food and where it's coming from and what has been done with it on the blockchain. There's an example about grapes. There are a lot of grapes grown in South Africa. Some are biological grapes, and there's a certain amount. We know about it. When they are transported to Europe, they become more and more and more, because there's 10 times more of those grapes in the supermarket, bio, than originally created or grown in South Africa. So that doesn't fit well. So blockchain can be an application to track what is really the product that I'm trying to buy in the supermarket. This is another example of a chicken. If you like to eat chicken and you like free-range chicken, you like your chicken to have a good life before it's on your plate, this is an example of China, where these chickens have little trackers on their feet, and so they track how much miles the chicken could run in their free-range time. And if you go to the supermarket, you can scan the blockchain and see if it's a real free-range chicken, and a bit more about the life. So chicken on the blockchain, grapes on the blockchain, whatever. That's about trust protocol. Moving it to learning and development. There's a lot of trust, of course, in certification, diplomas, etc. Is it all true? Well, I went to a blockchain presentation from a lady from the US, and she told us that about 40% of the diplomas in the US and the certification that are on LinkedIn, etc., are not true. So, is that a problem? Yes, I guess. So there is this new application about credentials, put it on the blockchain so that we can be sure that a diploma or certification is real. And this is the example with BlockCerts, a standard for that. Let's have a look.
Imagine being in control of your own official records, academic certificates, professional certifications, and government documents, all instantly available in a convenient digital format. Well, with BlockCerts you can. BlockCerts is a great new way to digitally receive and share your records, which are securely verified on the blockchain. Here's how it works. Simply ask your institution to issue your records using BlockCerts. Your institution will then invite you to connect by downloading the BlockCerts mobile app and adding them as an issuer. Once connected, you'll be able to receive digital records from your institution and import them directly into your mobile. That means you can now create a record of lifelong learning and achievement from across schools and even employers. You can share your records anywhere, online or directly with a third party, when applying for a job, for instance. Gone are the days when you have to pay money and wait for records to be sent for you. With BlockCerts, sharing is now simple and direct. But it doesn't end there. BlockCerts also allows people to verify your records with one simple click. By comparing your document's unique digital fingerprint against the version that is stored on the blockchain, they'll immediately know that your records are authentic. And because BlockCerts is open source, you no longer have to depend on the original issuers or any software providers they may use to verify your records. Easy, right? All your records, safe, available everywhere, and easy to share. And it's all free. Download BlockCerts and start building your future today.
Okay, so certification on the blockchain as shown in this video. Does it matter? And is it moving forward? Well, there are some institutions more and more that use blockchain to send out digital diplomas. MIT is one. It's another US university that started that, and different countries, they continue with this, and so it will become more natural and general over the coming years. Another reason, so it could be they say, okay, I studied at a university, I want to have my diploma, I couldn't find it because I moved a few times, let's go to my university and ask if they can send me a new diploma or whatever. But that might be easy for us. But if you are a refugee and say you were born in Syria and you had your diplomas there and your work experience, and you had to come over to Europe to have a safe environment again, yeah, everything at home is destroyed and your country is destroyed. All the institutions are maybe destroyed or don't have attention or don't have staff to help you out with that. So this idea also in this case, if you are a refugee or in different circumstances, but you have your records on a blockchain, you enter another country, wherever in the world, it might be very easy to check in and to see what are the real credentials of this person. And I think that's good for both the person who comes over to a new country, but also for the new country, so that they can arrange a good fit, good labor, etc., to make it work best as fast as possible. So that's an application, that's an idea that Ms. Smolensky likes to push forward. So we talked about value. So the blockchain is the internet of value. It would be possible in the future, if you want to sell your house, that you can sell it via the blockchain, just as easy as sending somebody video clip via email or a message via email, that you can send your house, sell it via email on the blockchain, let's say. So it must be easy like that. Example of the Internet of Value from Amsterdam.
Now, for the first time, VID's validation platform, known for securing digital files against manipulation, extends its activities into the physical world by validating Rembrandt's Virgin and Child in the Clouds. An original etch dated 1641, signed Rembrandt F. The Virgin and Child in the Clouds is a remarkably well-conserved piece with a Catholic theme. In collaboration with Douwes Fine Art, Amsterdam's highly renowned art dealer, established in 1770, and CMS Law, one of the largest law firms in the world, VID developed a method to secure every unique characteristic of this piece of our heritage onto the blockchain. First, art expert and registered appraiser Evert Douwes was recorded on video as he stood by the work and pointed out notable features unique to this piece. Next, a series of macro photographs were shot catching every line, fiber, and mark of the entire visible surface. Lastly, Douwes Fine Art issued a digital certificate listing sizes, materials, and origin of the work. Evert Anthony Douwes was appointed as validator. Notary Femke Strauken from CMS Law was present as a witness to confirm the source of the photographs and the facts stated in the certificate. After she confirmed the validator's identity, Mr. Douwes logged in on the validation portal and validated the file. Now that it is validated, the validation file's digital fingerprint is saved on hundreds of thousands of nodes on 4 separate blockchains, indefinitely. Any recipient of the file can check its integrity in 5 seconds and compare the recorded evidence to visually confirm the authenticity of this piece of our heritage. Art is the time capsule of a culture. VID secures its authenticity.
So it's kind of a hassle to do something like this. It's not a day-to-day application of blockchain, but I would like to show you the process steps that could be involved in something specific like this and how it would look like in this case. And that's also, I guess, an important message. Is blockchain magic, and is it so easy, and can you do all these things with one click or whatever? No, it isn't. I always say, if you want magic, you better go to Disneyland. And if you want to arrange something good with a different outcome, then maybe you should look into this. Other applications a bit more simpler. In science, if you come up with research results, new knowledge, scientists have to be very cautious with it, can't share it too easily. And if they are ready and have some insights and conclusions of their science projects, sometimes they have to send it in to a Nature or whatever kind of journal, and it takes quite a long time for reviewing, etc. So putting it on a blockchain, it makes it much more easy to say, hey, these results are from this research done by this researcher. And so it's much easier to say, hey, that's the work of this person with these results. And then it's much easier to share it earlier and to let everybody benefit from it. So that could be a good application also related to science and to new knowledge. Value. Who has a block in this room? Anybody has a block? Yeah? Okay, yeah, I know your block. Does it bring you money? No. Reputation? Yes, it does. Okay. this is an idea, steam it. Say, okay, all people write all kind of things in a blog or maybe on LinkedIn, nice post, etc. People like it and people reuse it and people will be inspired by it. But is that enough and is that fair? So Steemit is a platform where you say, okay, you can write your blog on Steemit and people who are on Steemit can like it and they pay you with the cryptocurrency of the system. So it's not about the like, it's a like plus a little cryptocurrency which has real value. And so it's not a lot of money, but and it won't cost you a lot of money to like it, but it gives some money. It's a reward for somebody who shared good knowledge or shared good content. And it's a different approach, I guess, with these micro payments that are easier via blockchain than we had until now. And so I think also within companies and learning from each other, learning with each other, of course we are social animals, humans, like to share, but also sometimes it's hard to share within our companies or within our context. And I think this could be another new way to say, okay, if we can connect micropayments to sharing interesting stuff, it will be helpful to reward the people that share these good ideas and these good materials. And this is an application based on that. A different one is this one, Dogecoin, and it's also on the internet. It seems popular with IT staff that they can send each other some small amount of money when they did something cool or whatever. That's a playful approach in this case, but it's also one of the examples that are based on that ID, the Internet of Value, and the easy way of paying each other without intermediaries, without a bank or whatever. Okay, that were the first introductory items, ideas, concepts. So we'll do this more than once, but maybe first have a short discussion at your table with this input. Teams or three or at your table, you can arrange that yourself. Discuss your first ideas for application. If you have heard what you have heard right now, what are your first ideas that have popped up in your mind that could be useful in your situation? Please have a few minutes to discuss. So, there were some nice questions over here, and one of the questions was how many blockchains are out there. I really don't know, but with the Rembrandt example you heard, they put the record on 4 blockchains. So there are many blockchains. It's not one blockchain. So that's an answer already. I don't know how many. So ideas. What are your first ideas? We have to do it together. Create a future together. So yeah. Oh, sorry. It's the lady behind you first.
Behind you. We thought about apprenticeships and capturing things like competence, then sort of took that to safety critical industries and whether or not perhaps if you're in the rail industry you were able to go on track, had you got the right things that you should have. Much easier way of checking it. I think the rail industry do it already on a card ID system, but you could use it through blockchain. Yeah. And then thought about lateral entry into different domains. So if you're an engineer in the shipping industry and you want to go to rail, you could take your blockchain record with you and have a clever system that told you what you already knew and what you needed to know. So it's like that competence mapping thing.
Great. Yeah. Great. Yeah. I know, the lady, just a quick remark. I know, there is a training provider in safety, in welding underwater, and it's a 2-stage certification. First, you have to do the theoretical part, and then you can do the wet part in the pool. And so you have to show, if you show up the morning for the pool, that you did the first part. It's always a problem because people didn't get it, forgot it, etc. So that would be a very small but maybe practical way to solve it. And I think that's something also what you said. Yeah, lady over here, please.
2 things. One, to encourage other people in other departments, subject matter experts, to produce content for the training departments and to have a way of paying them, as in with the team blog, the you showed. That's like a good idea. But what worried me is that, is this system hackable? Can is it secure enough? Who guarantees that your money is not going to disappear, your certificate, your ID or whatever?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's secure, it's very secure with new technologies. The idea in the system is that you need so much effort to hack it because all those blocks are connected to each other that you have to have the computer power to change all those blocks at the same time. And the idea is that you can use that computer power for different things to do that will give you more money. That's the idea, and it worked quite well, but it's not 100% safe. So of course, there are cases of hacks, etc., that went wrong. So that's still something that we have to be careful about. Yeah, there was somebody there.
Hi, I work for a large voluntary organisation, and how you could use blockchain to capture the value of volunteering and the impact on society.
Wow, cool. Yeah, great. Yeah, Andy over here. It's your workout, David.
I'm going to get my steps in today.
Free workout today.
The use I've got in mind is very immediate. Certification. We're a professional certification body as well, and perhaps this might be a much better way to do that than the sort of open badging thing that really hasn't taken off particularly well. Yeah, and there are some initiatives now, digital badging connected with blockchain. So there are some initiatives already out there. That's it. Yeah, will be another round. So. Maybe you need a bit more discussion later, but you will have the opportunity to share your ideas. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Next topic, blockchain and smart contracts. So smart contracts are also connected to the idea of blockchain. What is a smart contract? Well, it's a bit like a digital vending machine. A vending machine has this little program in it. If you put in this amount of money and push button 45, you will get delivered a can of this type of soda. That's a smart contract, so to say. But there are a lot of digital smart contracts today that have a lot of if this, then that code in it, so that nobody has to actually do something, but the code will arrange it by itself, so that's the smart contract. So it's easier to do transactions with smart contracts. An application in learning and development that also uses smart contracts is BitDegree, and let's have a look at what they are doing.
BitDegree, revolutionizing education via blockchain. Education. It is a pathway to your career and your desired income. But there are many things that are just not right. Courses of study are not focused enough. Your head gets crammed with lots of unnecessary information. Study materials are not up to date. A gap between the needs of employers and student knowledge already exists and is widening. And of course, studies cost a fortune. Our mission is to change that. So we gathered a team of software engineers, blockchain geeks, and startup advisors and embraced the challenge to revolutionize education via blockchain. BitDegree is the world's first blockchain-powered online education platform offering tokens for scholarship and promoting tech talent acquisition. How does that work? Choose from thousands of the best IT courses online. Earn BitDegree tokens as a scholarship and reward. Get connected with world-changing companies. That solves most of the problems. Learn only the things you need for the most lucrative sphere of IT. All your progress will be visible for your future employers. They may be keeping a warm nest just for you. We can't stress this enough. Not only is all of it entirely free, but also you will get paid for your progress with our BitDegree token. How is that even possible? Through your future employers. They are the ones who will gladly finance the courses. Searching for the right person to fill a position is a very tedious job. With us, you get to develop the exact skills a company is looking for at the time. It's a unique tool for businesses to recruit tech talent and shape global education to their needs. We are establishing BitDegree on a solid existing user base of 29 million at 000 Web Host and Hostinger, a worldwide community that is loyal, web passionate, and open to innovative learning. We connect employers searching for educated talent with those who are passionate to learn. And to spice things up, we power the effort with a blockchain-based reward system. Just like the knowledge you gather here, BitDegree tokens may enhance your fortune in the future. Learning has never been so open, approachable, and job-oriented. Learn, earn, grow. Start a course on BitDegree now.
Now, do it now. Yeah? Okay, so here is a part of smart contracts. Another slogan that they use is earn while you learn. So learning will be paid with their own tokens. And so that's a nice idea. And you saw this triangle, how they connect people and stakeholders in this system. What does it look like? So, okay, if you have a look at the BitDegree website, it looks like this. Does it look very special compared to other learning platforms? No, I think it doesn't. Does it look very strange because it's a blockchain application? No, so it's not strange or magic. It's not very special, I would say, but it's more the idea behind and what it solves as a problem that's different than other applications. Blockchain and tokens. We already had a little talk about cryptocurrencies and tokens, so that's the same word maybe for different things. Tokens are the things that you use on a blockchain platform to pay or to exchange value. And of course there's Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is not the only one, there are a lot of them. So the world becomes kind of tokenized. Everything of value can be related to tokens to exchange value, etc. There are many. So this is the top list from a few weeks ago. And the top 10 most popular. Oh, it's not actual anymore, I see, but it changed a little bit, but whatever. Gives you an impression of what the most popular tokens are or cryptocurrencies are and how much you have to pay for them. Bitcoin is much more at this moment. I will come back to that later. If we scroll down the list, you come to 4736. So that many cryptocurrencies or tokens were out there a few weeks ago. So there's a lot of things going on every day. And is it all interesting or is it rubbish? You have to be cautious about that. Because it's cool now these days to say, I have this blockchain idea, I write a white paper, I say, this is the problem, this is my solution, and I will host it on a blockchain. And by the way, if you want to be part of it, this is my initial coin offering. You can buy coins from me, the Ger Driesen coins, and then later on, when it's all said and done, you will have the value from that. You can do something with it, or maybe you can sell them if they skyrocket. This is, I think is a nice idea of, okay, the white paper shows this, and then they start to build it, it becomes like that, and then when it's released, it could be like that. So you should be cautious, and the one that I like is this one, the useless Etherium token. It's on the internet, you can see it, and if you look at it, we are going to give some random person on the internet money, and they're going to take it and go buy stuff with it. Probably electronics, to be honest. Maybe even big screen televisions. Seriously, don't buy this token. So it's a joke token, so to say. But there was one day that the value of this token became $7, and people bought this token. So be aware of what you are looking at if you want to do something like this. Next one, blockchain will remove middlemen. We now need banks, blockchain, and let's say Bitcoin came up after during the financial crisis. And it's because during the financial crisis we found out, okay, these middlemen like banks and maybe like governments, are they really trustworthy or not? And we found out they might be not as trustworthy as they seemed in the past. And so that also gave a boost to everything around Bitcoin and blockchain in general. So because of all the characteristics of blockchain, it's easier to do a transaction in between parties without these middlemen, and so we can remove the middlemen. Example from learning and development, the ODEM platform. Let's have a look what they have to say.
The global model for higher education is fundamentally flawed. Long-standing education institutions and intermediaries inflate the cost of education and ensure only global elites receive access to top educators. By the time most students complete a 4-year degree, the world is radically different. The skills they will need for employment have changed, and there is immediate pressure to start paying off student loans. The ability to learn new skills in real time as they become relevant for your career is the future of higher education. ODEM is creating a global marketplace where students, educators, and professionals interested in continuing education can come together and access in-person educational courses that are relevant for their careers now. Through ODEM, educators are no longer chained to old world institutions and can instead offer their own curriculum through the ODEM marketplace and receive direct compensation for courses they host in the real world. The ODEM educational marketplace is powered by smart contracts and the ODEM token in order to make education more affordable, remove expensive intermediaries and application processes, which are the norm and a barrier to higher education, and facilitate prompt payment to ODEM-verified educators and issuance of educational certificates to students who complete their courses. The certificate gets added to the public blockchain, which helps build the professor's educational reputation and career visibility for the student. ODEM launches February 17, 2018, and if you want to be a part of the future of high-quality, on-demand education, contribute to the ODEM crowd sale.
So an example where the idea is to cut out institutions because they take away a lot of money that leads to high costs of education. As an idea. It's out there right now. We have to find out if it really works, if it's really a good idea, but that's with a lot of these things, of course, today. It looks like this. So once again, I guess, very normal compared to other online platforms where you can buy and do courses. Yep, just to give you an impression. Then blockchain and individual data ownership. We already talked a little bit about that. So if you can have your credentials on the blockchain, you owe them, and you can share the information with whoever you like for a next level of education, for getting a new job, or whatever. So that's an interesting aspect of it also. I was in Estonia in May, and Estonia is a real blockchain country these days, and we had the presentation from some of the people of the government. If you live in Estonia, you need to go to you need the government for three things. It's to get married, to get divorced, and there was another thing I forgot about it. For the rest, you have a digital entry to all the systems of the government, and you can arrange them all by yourself. You have a own digital, all your data is your ownership. It starts when you are born, and you can say, hey, I need a prescription for my medicine. You can ask it to somebody, and if they say, okay, I want to look in your file, you have to give them permission, and it will all be installed in your own database, so you can check every time who took a look at my data, and is that correct? And is it something that I gave permission for? And if not, you directly send it to the government, say, hey, there is something going wrong here, and they will act very, very quickly on that. Okay, one more time, in your groups at the table with these new approaches and ideas, please continue or do another discussion about what kind of applications, ideas do you see? Okay, David, let's give it another try. See what kind of brilliant ideas will pop up in this room. Future is made in this room. Sure about that. Yes, here, there's an initial coin offering announcement over here.
Oh, I don't know about that. The whole idea of bit degree, I think, is really, really interesting, because one of the challenges we're starting to address now is how do we make sure that the Hitachi way of thinking and our products start to get embedded in the curriculums at universities and so on, so that we're actually helping to breed a generation of future employee that's is much more informed and much more aligned to what we're doing. And I think maybe there's something in the bit degree there that I think that potentially could be one of the routes for that.
I just actually signed up for bit degree just to have a look and see what was in there, which is actually quite interesting. I'm going to go and play with it. Not quite sure who pays for the incentivication yet, but we'll work that out. I see a potential issue. I see going forwards, as you said, looking at the future, great concept. Where do we start? Do we start at the school level, so that people taking GCSE or even 11 plus, this gets put into it? But if I look at the body of people in this room who have all got various certificates and piles of paper that we've picked up, I almost said piles of rubbish that we've picked up over many years, we actually can't use those or go back somehow at this stage and say, let's find some way of scanning it and putting it onto the blockchain. And what I see with bit degree, from what Andy's saying, is that I see now you're going to apply for a job, and the recruitment people are going to say, well, hang on a minute, we've looked at bit degree and you haven't done our 3 courses on bit degree, so you're now at the bottom of the pile. It's bad enough that you fill out a form to apply for a role, and some computer tries to look for a set of keywords and decides whether you're going to be any good or not. Sounds like they're going to land on your head, doesn't it? So I just wonder, how are they going to grandfather what's gone before? And will there be, maybe, it would be great to have some system that says, I've got something from the past, a certificate from something I did in 1936, and I'd like to have it on the blockchain. So I'm not quite sure how it's all going to hang together, but I don't think anybody else has either. Yeah. So maybe it starts today in the schools, and this will be great for people in 20 years' time. As for us lot in the room, well, we're already halfway towards the end anyway, I suppose. Well, yeah, I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the system has to grow and has to. It takes time. So I did a blockchain program online with Oxford University. It was quite intense, but I really liked it. At the end, they sent me a certificate by post. I asked them, hey, please give it to me on the blockchain, but they weren't ready for that yet. So I have a nice one on paper at home. Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking with the smart contracts that it might be something for a big organisation like the health sector or defence or something like that to have their own smart contracts where they talent manage and develop people and reward them as they keep current and develop themselves in different areas. So you could almost have an NHS bit degree type platform where they reward their workers for developing and going down different pathways.
Yeah, great idea. And it's a good one because there are, let's say, 2 types of blockchains. One is the private blockchain, and it could be within one organization, and the other are the open blockchains. Yeah, so that's an interesting idea. One more? Yes, gentleman over here. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm afraid this is a question, but I've written the most fantastic learning thing on my widget, but it's only me that's written it. How do people find it?
Ooh, that's a good idea. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Yes, but this sounds fantastic. But I was just thinking, somehow or other I've come across this brilliant way of explaining something or how to use something. I work in technical training, and we need qualified people, and developing content, as you were saying, would be fantastic. But if you do it and bung it on your blog or something, somebody's got to find it, haven't they?
Yeah. And so I think the Steemit example is the most close at this moment, where there is a system where people go to look for content, for special content, and can rate it. So maybe give it a try, find your way with it, and maybe you will find other platforms also. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's move forward towards the end. What I think is what is going on now, that some ecosystems, small ecosystems are emerging. And like the lady said, internal blockchain, this is an example of Telefónica in Spain. And they created a kind of internal blockchain, say, okay, people who share their knowledge, they will be rewarded via our internal tokens. With these tokens, they can buy other training services or coaching services internally. And so they started to put their corporate learning ecosystem on a blockchain application. And their ambition is to create a better learning culture overall. And that's how they try to do it. So that's one. I think this is an interesting example, not only looking at corporates, but in a wider ecosystem. So 100 Japanese manufacturers put a lot of data on the blockchain that will be visible for each other. And normally they say, okay, let's hold my most important information, and I guess they still do, but they share a lot more now on the blockchain because it's secure, and maybe you can see who had a look at it. And so it's opening up and sharing data so that they all can benefit from it. Another way of learning, not in a traditional way, but learning from each other by sharing. If you think, okay, I have this great idea, let's take an initiative. This is from my blockchain course at Oxford, and they have an own framework, and this is the first checklist that they provided. If you have an idea, say, okay, is it a good idea for blockchain? These are the questions that you can ask yourself to say, okay, it's a good idea or not to put it on the blockchain. I think because it's popular and hot right now, there are quite some initiatives that you could question if blockchain really is needed as a solution. But I don't bother too much. If blockchain and the new ideas spark inspiration to come up with something cool, and people choose to do it on the blockchain, but it could have been on another technology or whatever, if it works, I guess it's fine with me. Yeah, so these are some of the key criteria. Is it a hype? Yes, of course it's a hype, but let's have a look at it. Yeah, important message also. This is a very, very useful checklist, I guess, compared to the other one. I'm not sure if you are aware of the Gartner's hype cycle. It's the idea that a new technology pops up and then everybody's, did you hear, did you read about that? Oh, it's cool, it's a new thing, we should know more about it, it solves everything. And so the new idea gets hyped, and then after that, it wasn't that cool after all, it wasn't that easy after all. So after the peak of inflated expectations, you will land up in the throe of disillusionment and go to the next hype, maybe. And then what you need to try is to come to the slope of enlightenment. And so quite often it is very enthusiastic ideas, first attempts to apply it, failure, failure, failure. Some people say, I quit, but some others say, no, I believe in it and I push through. And if they start to gain traction by finding the real applications that work and that make sense, then we will end up in this plateau of productivity. So it's a general way of hypes and how they go. Bitcoin. This is the value of Bitcoin over some years. This is from last night, I have to say. So this is the graph, and what I checked is, okay, if I would combine these two, what would happen? And of course, Bitcoin is not blockchain, and of course, with Bitcoin, all kind of political and financial things influence the value of the Bitcoin. But I thought it was kind of nice to see that same kind of movement when you compare it to the hype cycle. Status, it's also from a year ago, I guess. I think no updates available yet, but if you like to become or be informed, stay informed, there is this organization called Holon IQ. They publish a lot about learning technologies in general, also on blockchain. And they say this is the education blockchain map from around the world. And you see all these different initiatives in different categories. So we saw ODAM, we saw some more. Credly is for the credentials, so it's about credentialing. There are some initiatives, verifying skills, IP, intellectual property, very interesting, and knowledge. Payments, you can also say, hey, here is some money for you, one way or another. With a smart contract, you can only use it for education, training, or whatever. So that's an ID. Peer-to-peer ecosystems and marketplaces. So these are the general categories from this company to say, okay, things are happening in these fields. So that's interesting about status. Okay, that was about it from my side. And I think it's still fuzzy. A lot of things are going on, but I hope that I opened the window for you looking at blockchain applications for learning and development. And the future will tell what happens. And I hope with this that that's more easy for you to have a look at what's happening and to know what is or can be useful for you. If you like, you can download the blockchain bundle with the presentation and some additional things. So please feel free to do so. And I also created a LinkedIn group, Blockchain for Learning and Development. So LinkedIn group a year ago, 400 members yet, so has to grow, need more active people to share, to learn with each other. So please feel free to also join that LinkedIn group if you like. Thank you so much. And if there are any questions, please let me know.